Background: my, female 29, boyfriend Pat, male 29, of 10 years, and I are having an issue with his family. We usually get along quite well, but there have been issues. Mostly the issues are with his sister Macy, who besides being quite bossy and rude, has been disrespectful to me and Pat over the years, and usually gets away with it because that's just the way she is. Her nicknames from the family are all references to her being a B. They have a running joke about it. Anyway, whenever she has said or done something that I find rude, hurtful, or disrespectful, it is always dismissed with, "That's how she is." Or she laughs it off and everyone joins in on the joke. I don't find it funny, but I have learned there is a clear favoritism towards her, and nothing will change no matter what is said. What really annoys me is when Macy came out, she suddenly became super sensitive to anything she found LGBTQ+ offensive, including how I shouldn't be allowed to refer to my friends as girlfriends because we are not dating, and that's disrespectful to gay people. She also became very sensitive to anything we said around her partner. It was clear to me that there was a double standard, and she had no respect for me, and maybe even Pat. Pat's dad was always very respectful of me. His mom was sweet when her daughter was happy, and then attacking us anytime Macy was upset or offended. Story: this current issue started in October. His sister Macy said she would like to do a no-gift Christmas to save money. 2 points to make here. Macy and her partner make way more money than my boyfriend and I. They pay less for rent, household, etc., and have more take-home money and significantly larger savings. I have no issue with the differences in our income, just want to make it clear they are doing well. The second point: she never even considered me when she proposed this. I wasn't even there for the discussion, and at no point did she ask if this would be okay with us. She simply stated that what we all would be doing. To be clear, what she wanted is for her, her partner, her parents, my boyfriend, and myself not to do any Christmas gifts for any of the family. My boyfriend basically told her that we wouldn't get any gifts for her if that's what she wanted, and that we could cut back on everyone else, since we already had some things, and he knows how much I enjoy giving gifts at Christmas, making things, or baking things for people. So I felt how he responded was a fair compromise. His parents also didn't agree to a no-gift Christmas, but I think agreed to cut back. Flash forward a few days ago when everything blew up. Apparently, there was a misunderstanding. Isn't there always? Macy was under the impression that we were doing no gifts at all, and that her parents were also doing no gifts. Well, Pat was talking to Macy on the phone while I was rapping, and Pat must have mentioned casually what I was up to, and crap hit the fan. She immediately started freaking out that we were supposed to be doing no gifts, and saving money, blah blah blah. Pat tried to calm her down and said we were doing gifts for his parents like we said we would. They are also doing some small gifts. We had cut back and we ended up making some things instead, so we really didn't spend a lot. Well, she went ballistic. Apparently, homemade gifts are even worse because they mean more. Her arguments were all over the place. She went on about how she was going to feel like a huge idiot because she didn't get anything, and we had ruined her no-gift Christmas. She hung up on him, and I could see he felt bad. Even though we didn't feel we did anything wrong, we did feel that he should call and try to smooth things over. That's when we remembered one of the gifts was a photo gift, and she had helped us out with this. So Pat called Macy back and told her not to be stressed or feel bad, that we could say the gift was from all of us. This was apparently the wrong thing to offer. She began demanding that we switch the gifts we got for his parents for Christmas to his mom's birthday, which is a few days before Christmas. We told her we wouldn't be doing that as we already had a birthday gift for her, and these other gifts were intended for both his mom and dad. Pat could barely get a word in through her constant screaming and slur of insults. She at multiple points said how selfish we were being, Pat and myself. She again hung up on him, this time leaving him in tears. At some point, Macy called her mom to tell her about everyone breaking their promise, and in turn, Pat's mom called Pat to berate him for his sisters and his fighting, and how they needed to fix this as it was upsetting her. Pat did call back to try to talk things out. He was calm and patient, and really trying to get Macy to see the misunderstanding that had happened, and how her reaction was way over the top. This time, she threatened to sabotage our Christmas photo gift by making it herself and giving it to her mom on her birthday, before Christmas. This broke Pat. He had worked so hard on this gift. We both did. And he was so excited to give this to his parents. Another phone call Macy hung up on and left Pat in tears. Pat called her back about 3 hours later, hoping she had calmed down to try and talk to her about her threat. She stood by it and said if we planned to go ahead with giving Christmas gifts, then she was going to sabotage them. Pat was crying and begging her over and over not to do this, and if she does this, they won't be talking after. She said she was fine with not talking to him again. So this is where I am accused of being an a-hole. At this point, I had watched my partner, who I love more than anything, being broken down time and time again over having done nothing wrong. Macy had demanded that we not give gifts, insulted both of us, refused to admit there was a misunderstanding, that she was out of line, yelled at her mom and brother to the point of tears, threatened to sabotage the gifts we had made in more than one conversation. Every phone call had her interrupting the conversation with screaming and insults, and resulting in Pat crying. So I wrote her a letter, email. I went over the 4 points I wanted to make, about how I was not included in the original decision and excluded from the conversation about how I would be celebrating Christmas, about how we never agreed to a no-gift Christmas, that we said we would cut back, and we did, and how much I enjoy giving gifts. She has every right to opt out of gift giving, but no right to demand others do the same, and no right to try and control others' Christmas celebrations. That the way she treated us was absolutely not okay. The way she spoke to her brother was disgusting, and threatening to steal our gift is what the Grinch would do, not family. I ended by telling her disrespect would not be tolerated, and that the level of hurt and stress she caused my partner made me furious, and I would not consider her family if this was how she was going to act. The letter was harsh near the end, but honest, and I still stand by what I said in the letter. Well, the letter did the trick. She called Pat crying and apologized, although refused to acknowledge I was also owed an apology. She claimed that I was not involved and was therefore owed no apology. She was also upset that I wrote a letter instead of calling her, which I admit would have been a better choice had she been a reasonable person to talk to on the phone. All I heard for days was her interrupting everything Pat said and screaming at him, not to mention all the insults. Then Pat's parents became involved. They disagreed with the sending of a letter, said that the conversation should have been over the phone. They didn't read the letter, but they heard from Macy that I had threatened for all of us to no longer be a family unless she apologized. Not exactly what I said. To be clear, I was referring to the relationship between myself and Macy no longer being family if she continued to behave this way. Also, in a previous phone conversation between Pat and Macy, he told her that if she went through with this, they would not talk again, to which she replied, "That's fine." Macy didn't tell their parents anything else that was written in the letter. I doubt it would paint her in the best light. Well, now Pat's parents are mad at me and Pat, and feel that what I said can't be taken back, and that I have broken up the family by sending a letter. So, am I the a-hole? No, you aren't. Get your husband some therapy, because the way she is behaving towards him is unacceptable. I would also even go so far as to say that communication between her and you and your husband should be significantly less, if not stopped altogether. She doesn't respect you, she doesn't respect your husband, and she's being enabled with excuses that this is how she's always been. This is not an excuse. If she wants to behave like a lunatic and an a-hole, that's fine, but you do not have to put up with it. You and your husband are grown adults, and you can decide what you do and do not allow into your lives. Edit. Also, I like the idea that it was written out in an email. That way there's physical proof of what was said. Not only that, if you write an email and write it while angry, you can save it and go back and edit it to make it sound a little bit nicer instead of saying it over the phone, where tempers can flare. Honestly, if I were you, I would suggest that you and your husband have a quiet Christmas at home and mail the gifts to his parents. I would not send his sister anything this year or any other year to come. With all due respect, why are you guys putting up with her treatment? I counted over 5 calls trying to appease her entitlement. Over presents. You sent the email, now be done. This is draining both you and your significant other's joy and time. You are choosing to be involved in her drama and are in fact encouraging it. Drop the rope. Gray rock her. When she starts losing her temper, simply hang up and don't engage. This was exhausting to read, but more so of how you keep engaging. My siblings, 24 male, 22 female, and I, 26 male, were raised by a single dad, 45 male. Our dad was great. He was loving and caring and always put us first. Because of this, we never missed our deadbeat mom. My dad even sacrificed his love life though. He never dated anyone. My brother, 24 male, disowned our dad around 3 years ago, for a reason I'd also disown him, to be honest. My brother found our dad and his then girlfriend, 27 now, doing it. Thus, my brother got mad at my dad and cut him off, moved out of the house, and went to live with some friends. No matter how hard my dad has tried to apologize and reach out to him, my brother ignores him. My dad has suffered a lot because of this and has gotten mad at us many times since my sister and I know where my brother lives. We visited him a couple of times, and he demands we let him know. But we can't because my brother threatens that if we ever tell him, he'll go no contact with us. The thing is that this woman got pregnant with twins, but she didn't feel like being a mom, so she left them to my dad. My dad tells everyone that he is raising his grandkids. He swears they are my brothers, but I'm not sure they are his since my brother says he used protection. The kids turned 2 months a couple of days ago, and he hosted a small party. So my uncle started asking about my brother as the kid's father, since no one in the family knew what happened. So my dad started talking crap about my brother, saying that he was an ungrateful son and a terrible father for leaving 2 kids behind. I think my dad is angry at my brother for not forgiving him. As everyone in the family sees my dad as an example for the sacrifices he did, they started talking crap about my brother. I love my dad with my whole heart, and I'd do anything for that man. I know all my siblings would. But he tried to portray my brother as a bad guy, and I love my brother. So I told him, he wouldn't have disowned you if you hadn't ducked his girlfriend and got her pregnant. Everyone looked at him, and he tried to excuse his actions, but everyone told him to duck off. They've called my brother to apologize, but my dad is angry at me. He says this is a family matter, and I should have kept my mouth shut. My wife says I did the right thing, but my sister is on my dad's side. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. He says this is a family matter. Which family? The one whose origin he's lying about? The one he's trying to lie to? Or the one he wants to make complicit in those lies? Regardless, this is 100% about him going out of his way to try and throw your brother under the bus, and somehow expecting no one to call him out on that. And he really still wonders why no one wants to help him get back in touch with the guy. Not the a-hole. So hypocritical to pretend to be a grandfather of the year when he could be the father. Hasn't anyone done a paternity test on the twins? If they are your dad's, raising another group of kids at his age is really his karma to bear for cheating on his poor son. Those poor innocent kids. An absent mother and unknown father. Not the a-hole. I'm sure your father hasn't done the DNA test yet because he wants to lie to himself about the fact that his own actions made his son cut him off. He also doesn't want his family to be on your brother's side because he wants them to pressure your brother back into his life and into forgiving him. If he gets the DNA test, he has no excuse for his current situation besides himself and his actions, and he clearly hasn't accepted that all of this is his fault yet. Get the kids tested with your brother's consent. I mean, if they're his, as I assume they are on the certificate, he has every right to get a test and clear his name. This is important for his safety legally as well. Just to clarify something before I start, I legally adopted my stepdaughter 6 years ago, so she is my daughter in every way. I refer to her as stepdaughter in the title, because that's why this story happened in the first place. I'm 32 male. My wife is 34 female. We've been married for 7 years and have 2 kids together, 6 male and 3 male. She also has a daughter, Anna, 9 female. Her dad isn't involved at all, gave up parental rights days after her birth. Anna has Down syndrome. My brother and his wife just had a baby a month ago, and now our parents decided they want to do a family photo shoot. I have 3 brothers. We all dressed up nicely like they asked, came to their house, and started posing for the pictures. There was a professional photographer. There were pictures of just my parents with sons, each son with partner, each son with their own family, mom with just sons, dad with just sons, etc. All was good. When it was time for grandparents to take a picture with all their grandkids, my mother came to me and said, "Can you just stay with Anna?" I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, for this picture, I just want my grandchildren, not your stepchildren." I was honestly shocked because while we don't have much contact because we live a few hours away, they've never shown favoritism like this. I said absolutely not, and they can either take a picture with all grandkids or I'm taking all my kids home, and she'll miss out on half the grandkids in the picture. My dad came over and backed my mom up. I repeated to him what I said to her, and they reluctantly took the picture with all the kids. We left soon after the pictures were taken. A few days later, my mom sent a picture of them with the kids to our group chat. My parents, all their sons plus partners, and wrote, "While it's not a perfect picture, all the kids are in it." I just left the chat and called my mom to tell her I don't think we'll be visiting again anytime soon. She is very hurt, as is my father. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You handled the situation perfectly. Absolutely this. Well done for putting your foot down when they tried to exclude her. OP, that was brilliant parenting. And the absolute audacity of them to then throw some more dirt by telling everyone in the group chat the photo isn't perfect just shows how salty they were that you couldn't be disrespected. No remorse or understanding at all. Well done for going low contact. Not the a-hole. Keep being an amazing dad, OP. Not the a-hole. They're hurt? Boo-hoo. That's nothing in comparison to the hurt they could have thrown at your daughter, for no other reason than she doesn't have the blood tie the other children have. absolutely abominable behavior from people who ought to know better. Any hurt they feel is hurt they brought on themselves.